Good morning and welcome to Live in a Greenhouse on YouTube. If you're new here, this channel is about my journey to design, build, and then live in the first greenhouse enclosed tiny home in the United States. Being the last weekend of the month, today is the June walk around. Temperature outside has been mostly in the 60s and 70s, but peaked at 85 one day. Since the house doors and windows are open to the greenhouse most days and nights, the temperature in the house generally runs a little bit warmer than outside. It rained only 6 days for a total of about 1.5 inches. With so many dry days and good extraction fans in the house, the indoor relative humidity averaged mostly in the 50s to mid-60s, which is generally below where mold can grow. There are 3 air-to-ground heat exchange systems in the greenhouse. 2 run under the food garden at 2 feet and 4 feet below the surface, and 1 set of tubes runs under the pool. The probe is inside the intake tube at about 12 feet above ground or above 2 feet below the fixed portion of the roof, where hot air collects. This air is much hotter than at ground level. This is the high and low temperature from that probe. One day it hit 100. With lows in the upper 40s to low 50s. I spent some time this month looking through available graphs and like this one that shows the temperature distribution, or how many hours were between the temperatures on the x-axis. May peaked at 104 degrees, but by far the most hours were in the mid-40s to 60s degrees, compared with June, where temperature peaked lower, but there are many more hours above the mid-50s. In terms of projects, fortunately the drive-on ferry came back the night before the open house. Over 6 hours, there was a steady stream of visitors, sometimes individuals or couples, sometimes large groups. For a taste of what the open house was like, check out the Guaymas Island Historical Society's video on YouTube. Link in the description down below. If you'd like more detail about the greenhouse or the design, construction, or maintenance of living in a greenhouse, check out Live in a Greenhouse, the blog. Link is also in the description down below. And come along today to see what's growing outside and inside the greenhouse. The original plan had a carport and covered walkway here. Since that wasn't built, I spent evenings pulling weeds in the gravel. No progress in this area. The ramp garden has gone crazy this month, and the deer and slug smorgasbord is open. There is some variety hidden amongst them from seeds, purchased plants, and plants moved from other locations. Pulled the clematis that didn't grow and bought these as 1 gallon, which looked beautiful until yesterday's slug buffet. This one is fading quickly and I don't know why. The daisies and California poppies are nice for color, but daisies have an unpleasant odor, and this area doesn't smell very good right now. Asiatic lilies bloomed this month, but the deer are working their way through them. Pink Adesia adds some relief to the white and orange. The yarrow is thick enough I can pull most of the daisies and still have some white background. This spring started a multi-year project to turn the drain field into a wildlife meadow with some wildflower and native grasses as variety to the daisies. Mostly daisies, but this section is mostly scabiosa and a few flowers hidden in the daisies. Planted a ceanothus as an evergreen screen from this gap in the trees. Deer topped 6 of 8 lilies in this border. I'll need to find something else for next year. Transplanted this purple toadflax from elsewhere in the yard. Although these may become invasive, they haven't seemed to spread in my yard over 3 years, and they attract butterflies. I guess deer aren't the only diners. Evidence of deer bedding down with bent grass. Hardly anything was blooming on the outside of the ramp last month. Now everything is in bloom. The deer still eat the calendula even though it has powdery mildew. These sunflowers and tomato looked great until this happened just last night. The backside is visible from the trailer, so I like it to look good. Cardboard is so I can vacuum the residue after I sand furniture. These metal boxes will be planters, but I won't be able to move them once they're planted, so I'm still moving them around to see where I want their final home. Some of the transplants are coming on. This was moved from inside the greenhouse. I thought was crocosmia, but turns out it's a purple and green iris. It rained hard enough one day that I was able to wash half the trailer roof and sides in the rain and only used the hose to rinse. This side will need to wait for more rain. The foxglove is more than 6 feet tall in this area. I lived there for 2.5 years. I don't show the inside of the cabins very often. The one on the left has just been storage, but has finally reached the top of the priorities. The carpenter starts next week, and the electrician comes the end of July to turn it into a sewing and office space. The electrician will also wire the tool shed, which means I have to move everything away from the walls on 3 sides, but we'll be able to get rid of the extension cord. Even with little rain this month, now down about 600 gallons from this time last month. Didn't get to chip any brush to move the compost bin. Mint is invasive, so I've left it in the pot. Everything is filling in nicely except no coral bell flowers this year, thanks to the deer. The potatoes are mainly for ground cover, but I'll be happy for any spuds produced. Bird netting didn't deter the cat one little bit. Now there's wire covering most of the dirt. Rocks fill the gaps where she scratched too close to the plants. Some insects on the plum tomato. Snipped off the lower leaves to, hopefully, limit powdery mildew. A few baby toms on the tigrella. Longtime followers know how much I love this peach tree. This is its 3rd summer, and there are dozens of full-size fruit just starting to turn orange. There are also still a lot of non-viable fruit left on the tree that are still dropping. Also replaced the bird netting around the asparagus with wire and rocks. I love the retractable clothesline for laundry or after getting soaked washing the trailer. I have to accept I won't be swimming laps this year either, which is disappointing, but at least that 4,500 gallons of rainwater is beneficial as a temperature buffer and for irrigation if the rain tanks run dry. And I love the view from the bridge. Besides the cat scratching, this bed seems to have constant problems, so I've given it over to nasturtiums and potatoes this year. The potatoes have the same pest as last year, but it's attracting ladybugs. The lavage got too big and was falling over, so I've whacked off several branches. I saw these PVC cages in Millennial Gardener's video, and they're working quite well so far to keep the cat out. Pulled all the beets that had bolted. Still need to thin the lettuce and chard. Some insects' eggs on the tomatoes, I think maybe ants. Lots of cucumber flowers, but only one fruit so far. Been harvesting peas for a couple weeks. Got 2 strawberries off each plant that are now running across the space under the olive tree. We can't grow olives here in Zone 8B, but this one is happy inside. The calamandan is bushing out nicely. There won't be any fruit this year, but I'm just amazed it's still alive. Only one set of flowers, but most are forming fruit. I've been harvesting radishes, but these bolted and fell over so quickly, I need to get it off the onions that are ready to harvest. Still using the potting bench for charging batteries until there's power to the tool shed. Probably the fawn that's been nesting on the drain field. This mint has recovered nicely from being divided last month. Been seeing lots of bees on the borage. Here's one of the 2 clematis repotted from the front garden. This Swiss chard is for ornamental color and texture of the curly leaves. This was the mint mother plant the others were divided from. The fennel is so well hidden, I need to pull this borage to give it room. The borage and nasturtiums are so prolific that from now till the end of the season, I have to pull bunches to keep them under control. There is rosemary and catnip in this bed, but the volunteer borage is so thick, I really need to pull it. The fern is native to this location, growing back from pre-construction. I was very disappointed the cat broke the new fern leaf, but more are coming in now. This area smells really good with oregano, basil, sage, lavender, and lemon balm. I gave up with trying to save primroses from pill bugs and now letting violets, nasturtiums, and oregano take over. After 10 weeks out of service, the drive-on ferry came back on May 30th. The brass lamps and painting came out of storage, and I got the final furniture for the sitting area: 2 swivel rockers and a love seat. Now on to sanding and painting the black boxes built by my grandfather in the 1950s. And there you have it. I'll leave you to enjoy Kitty after one leaf of catnip. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And come back next time to see how the rainwater holds out.